In a week in AEW, got an ace signing. We move forward to Forbidden Door, and it will be lights out in the O2 Arena next weekend. And in a week that myself and my co-host David managed to get media credentials for Forbidden Door next week, which we're very happy about, as you could probably see. But joining me today on our review of AEW, the lovely Gary Joe is very busy as well this week. He's doing his stuff. I was going to get you both on today, but Gary's obviously really busy doing his stuff with his band and everything else, or the band that he's got partnering with and everything like that. So joining us today, you know him for cruising with kayfabe on the internet. It's Mongo, and this time the lovely Emily joins us as well. Welcome to the show, guys and girls.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having us, Adam.
No problem at all. It's been a week. Every time I do one of these weekly roundups, lots of stuff. It's like never a dull moment in the world of wrestling, is it? Whether it's things going on and new partnerships or subscription models coming out. But generally of AEW, it's generally good stuff that happens in a week. We get some news, they're not rising prices, they're not hiking you and moving you off to another network, which is great. I know I was reading somewhere today that it's going to cost, and I know this is not AEW related, but it's going to cost the American, if they were into WWE and they want to sign up for everything, it's going to cost them literally something like $100 a month to
Yeah.
sign up to everything, which it costs me not like Netflix, which my partner has the account, so I don't even pay for that. So I get quite, it's weird how American companies are doing things maybe to benefit the international viewership, but not necessarily the American viewership. Whereas AEW, it's kind of both the same because they're on a streaming platform over there in Max, but over here in the UK, they're on Freeview, so that you don't need a subscription. As long as you've got a smart TV, you can watch AEW every week. So realistically, guys, it's smart business for AEW, right?
No, it definitely is. And I think now's the advantage. They've talked about that Max deal for a while,
Mm.
about pay-per-views. I was saying earlier, for the ones who can get Max, put a discounted pay-per-view on there or give them promo codes to buy them discounted if you subscribe to Max. Kind of strike while the iron's hot while people are kind of frustrated because having to have cable and then ESPN app and Netflix versus I won't lie. I use a VPN and I act like I'm over hanging out with you so I can watch it all on Netflix.
This is where I get, because with NWA, I have to watch it via VPN now. It's on Roku. I don't have access to the wrestling channel as part of my Roku stuff. So I do what you do. Me and Fiona VPN every week and getting to watch it. But Emily, just to touch on this, and what I've noticed recently, I've been talking to a lot of wrestling fans quite recently, and there seems to be a bit of a shift. And I don't want to talk about WWE too much because this is an AEW show, but there's a lot of disgruntled fans out there at the minute with the WWE, whether it's rising ticket prices, whether it's pushing or not pushing, carrying cross or anything else like that. Do you think now, and especially with their global stuff that AEW are doing now, they've been to Australia, Mexico, coming back over here next week, is this time, and Mongo, you hit the word right on the head, to strike while the iron's hot and maybe say, hey, look, come over here. You might not have wanted to watch us before, but we do things differently. Come and watch us and see what we're all about now.
I say this every time we have a new episode or we go live. Now is the time to be a fan of AEW because you are getting the stories that you may not have realized that you had in front of you. Because personally, I've always known that there were stories, but a lot of people didn't.
Hmm.
They're running things back, they're putting new stuff out. You can watch every pay-per-view, I believe, now, right up
Up
to
to 2024,
2024.
yeah.
You can watch so much history of AEW that if you're wanting a library, guess what? Max has it. If you're upset that you can't go watch your WWE, well, guess what? You can go watch AEW on YouTube. If there's a certain wrestler you're looking to look into, I'm sure that a podcast, maybe us, have covered them.
Mm.
There's so many different ways that I love that you can go and connect to AEW that you can't do with WWE at the moment. And getting to a show, we had friends of ours go to SummerSlam and they didn't even get to see the matches that they wanted to see. The wrestlers, they ended up getting a meet and greet because they weren't there for the night that Jey Uso was wrestling. So they did a meet and greet instead. And not everyone can afford that.
No, no. I mean, ticket prices are astronomical. I mean, I'm quite happy that. So I don't know how it's going to work out now with the media stuff with AEW next week, but we got into the Pepsi box basically in the O2. That's where we was sitting, myself, my partner Dave, and his dad. And that was like, I suppose your value maybe about $300, but it's literally like people may say, well, that's a bit expensive. I'm like, but there's one row. There's just us. That there's no one
Yeah.
in front of us. There's no one behind us because we're in this Pepsi deck. And they're doing the pricing now, and I thought the pricing was pretty good anyway. I mean, the WWE, I need to remortgage my house if I want to go and watch that. I wanted like I was doing this thing. I think I've done this with Gary Joe, this comparison. I went to the first ever Monday Night Raw taping in Manchester. It was the first time they'd done a live. They'd done taped, but this was the first live one. It was 2000, I want to say 5 or 6, something around that year. And I went there and I paid as not on the floor seats, but as it tiered up. And I paid $60 basically was your price for this ticket. And it tiered up. I had perfect views. And when they come back this year, I had a look at that same ticket that was $60 is now $1,200.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah, literally the same
For
seat.
one person?
Yeah, literally the same seat. Yeah, one per
No.
me. Yeah, yeah, literally the same. And I'm like, I love wrestling, right? And I will go to any show and I'll go to AW, I'll go anywhere. I'm not gonna like pay £1,000 of my money. I could literally go and watch I could probably get loads of season tickets to go and watch a load of independent shows for that money, right? So it's just crazy what the pricings are. And with me right now, I am a disgruntled WWE fan, but I'm happy that I found AEW in 2019 when it started because I've got that. I've already got it, and I've already got
Yes.
NWA, which gives me something totally different, and I've got TNA, which gives me something different as well, kind of now without the partnership. But anyway,
Yeah, that's
let's
a whole nother one.
yeah, that's the whole another one. We'll see what happens with that. With the news I read this week, I was quite disappointed with a couple of bits that what they were saying and such and such what. But hey, that is what it is, and WWE will try and do that stuff. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope it keeps it as it is because it's lovely to have as many brands as we've got.
Absolutely.
And speaking of brands, it kind of moves us to a latest acquisition with AEW. Mongo, we'll come to you first on this. Ace Austin from Bullet Club ABC, TNA. I thought I loved Ace Austin. I've just spoken before. We started here and met him a couple of years ago. We had a couple of donuts in Wows over in Slam Masters. Um, I felt as if TNA kind of lacked a direction with him once Chris Bay got injured. It was kind of like, oh, you can team with the Hardys here, you can team with the Rascals here. But Ace was kind of, there was no direction for him as a wrestler. He can come in right now to AEW. There's a direction. There is plenty of talented guys for him to work with. It seems like he's kind of ready made for AEW.
No, absolutely. We've been big fans of Ace too. We got to see him at a local show in Massachusetts at Chaotic,
Mm.
and just I was mesmerized when I first saw him in the ring. How he moves in the ring, and then like you said off air, he was such a pleasant guy. We went over to his table after to talk to him, and he was just very nice. And
He gave us some free stuff for our son. That is
Lovely.
key. If you get in with a parent like that, that is everything.
Yeah.
and just seeing his debut, and I know it leaked online, and obviously it's hard to control with live people
Yeah.
there, but it was still nice because I agree. In TNA, it seemed like after the unfortunate news with Chris,
Hmm.
it was kind of we'll put you here, we'll put you here, but kind of the same thing that did with Speedball, and kind of the same thing they did with some of these other acquisitions. And
Jake something, he's falling.
I've kind of noticed that it's almost, I hate to say it, but it's almost like they're going to the company where they at least want to get a chance to sink or swim, and if I'm gonna sink, it's gonna be because I'm not good.
Yeah.
And I think he made an impression. Him getting in the ring with Ricochet, that was the best first match to introduce him to the crowd. Him and Ricochet, because they just tore it up, and it was such a good sight to see him in AEW. I'm glad that the East is all elite.
Yeah, me too. Emily, just touching on that, with this talent pool that AEW have, and I know people can criticize the amount of championships and everything like that. I sat there and I looked at the roster today, and then there was like 10 or 12 names, and I was like, this has got junior heavyweight division written all over it.
I am thrilled. Ace Austin, like, I have to just gush over the fact that I thought that they put up a picture that had been edited. And I was
Yeah.
like, this poor guy looks like a micro brawler or something. Like, he looks like we have a Matt Cardona figure in front of us. He looks like one of these small figures. And then I realized it was because he's worked out so hard, his leg muscles. If you know Ricochet, you know how like his thigh muscles are really, I'm not good. I don't go to the gym. His thigh muscles are huge. When you put Ace Austin in there with him, I was like, holy shit, they didn't edit anything. Like they didn't fix anything. Like that's really how big his muscles are now. Ace Austin has beefed up and he's in a contendership with Beast Mordos. Put him in there with all the big guys, get a beef match going. Brian Cage, when he comes back, Lance Archer, he could easily get into that mixture. But again, X Division,
Yeah.
he was part
Junior
of
heavyweight,
that.
yeah.
Put him in with the junior heavyweights because he's a high flyer, also technical. Ace Austin is a lot like Kenny Omega, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do with every. I have dream matches upon dream matches. I can't wait to cover him on our podcast, and I can't wait to just like be able to really dive in on him because I think that he's got so much untapped potential.
You guys do a great job of those deep dives, so I think you should do one on Ace Austin. I've seen your ones that you've done on YouTube, and they're very, very good. But if you do meet Ace Austin again, Krispy Kreme donuts are the way. It's the way to win Ace's heart. Look, but we're moving to Forbidden Door. I mean, there's plenty of excitement with Ace Austin. We've already covered that, but let's move it to Forbidden Door. Literally, this, as I say, this time next Sunday, we'll probably be nearing that final part of it over here in the UK. Potentially half eight. Yeah, it's going to finish about an hour at half time. But we finally got Hangman finally got MJF to break this week. I wasn't expecting Brian Cage actually this week. The video will go out tomorrow. He put me and David on the spot, and he asked us who Hangman Adam Page would be facing because he didn't have an opponent at the time of recording. I come up with Luke Jacobs from the UK. I can't remember who David come out with, but anyway, finally MJF snapped this week. Emily, was you surprised that they're pulling the trigger on this match early, or do you think it was kind of like it now's the right time for them to have it in their match at Forbidden Door?
I think it's genius on Hangman's part, but I'm kind of sad because I did want to see a Forbidden Door style match. But at the same time, like this is a great match, and I don't want to like make it sound like it's so sad and like not wanted because it is wanted. But I kind of was hoping to see MJF try to cash in and have it fail. I was kind of hoping for that to happen. So to have this contract now just be a matchup is very interesting. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this.
Mongo, what direction do you think they're going to go in with this?
So it's a good question because I like that Hangman he knows how to get under MJF's skin, and he kind of played off that insecurity. Like, I'm not insecure. Fine. I'll sign the contract. I'll do the match. And he did it because I think that's going to be his downfall. And I think, honestly, Bobby Lashley is going to kind of interfere because I don't think there's going to be a clean match. Because I think the all-out match they're going is Bobby Lashley versus MJF. Because I think that Hurt Business, that's Syndicate, it's not done. Or it's the greatest swerve and somehow Hangman gets the throne quickly and the internet melts down. But it really feels like it is early, but I think it's early for a reason. It almost seems like they pivoted off the Hurt Syndicate storyline. So it seems like there's something there.
MVP dropped that, right? He's like, what do you mean? There's nothing happening here.
Yeah, he basically shut down the rumors, but it seemed like there's still something there. So is MJF going to cost them the tag titles, or are they going to cost him this? Like, there's something there, and I think that's why it seems like they pulled the trigger early on this.
Or if they pulled the trigger or pulled the wool over all of our eyes and are really together, and they're going to end up costing Hangman the championship. I mean, maybe early. I know. I admit that's why it kind of surprised me they were doing it. I was expecting like Emily, like a Forbidden Door match, maybe with a Gabe Kidd, but he's involved somewhere else, which we'll get to in a second. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with this. I am interested in seeing the end of this because I don't know whether it will be the end of the feud between the two, but I'm very intrigued as to what. And that's why AEW doing a good job of right now. It's kind of like they're sort of bringing you in, they're feeding you, and you're like, I really want to see this ending, but I was surprised they were doing it so early. So we'll see what they do. I want to talk about another Brit, and I'm not talking about Bruv at the minute. I'm talking about the partner of Bruv, Alex Windsor, who's come in and made a really big, jump straight in, really. But it feels like to me, it feels like Alex has been there ages because she's just settled in so nicely. They've put her straight away into a big program, which is great. But sometimes when you get the new roster, they take a little bit of time to bed in, and it's like, we'll throw them over here, throw them over there. She is just slotted straight into that division.
No, absolutely. I was excited to hear her at RevPro announce she got signed, because we got to see her on the cruise against Billy Starks and a couple other people. And that was the first time we got to see her live and then interacting with her. And again, she was so kind to our kiddo. And, we talked about the movie Sonic 3 being on Paramount Plus and how good that was, and how she saw it in theaters. And just, she seems so humble. And you're right. And then she joins, and the first thing you hear is Windsor, and she comes out, and she's just high energy. She's like how Willow is so high energy. She comes out, you can't help but like root for her. And then she kicks the shit out of you. So it's like, I think it's great because she's bringing that, British strong style more to America. I think that's really helping. All the strong style is really coming over. And I think she's keeping up with that division that shows that they're not going to just do arm drags and takeovers. They're going out there to beat the crap out of each other. Like you said, she's in a 4-way match right now, waiting the fourth person to start him, and could go for the TBS championship and could win the TBS championship. So that's a great position to come right in the door and also kind of shut down the whole nepotism signing that everyone likes to throw around.
Yeah, definitely. So, Emily, I've got a word I want to throw out to you to get your opinion on women's blood and guts. Man.
Need it, want it, been dying to have this. That is like my cup of tea. I will cringe if you break out a plastic bag and try to throw it over one of my guys. But if you bring out Spike, I'm cheering. I'm ready. Like, who's taking him? I don't know what it is, but give me the blood and guts. I cannot get enough of these matches. I think they really take a risk.
Yeah.
And I think that is the best part about what AEW does put out, is that these wrestlers are giving everything they have. They really truly are showing their passion, because if they didn't want to do it, they wouldn't.
No.
They want to do this. They want to entertain us. They want to be sick and twisted and give us everything. And I want to go back to Alex Windsor in this Forbidden Door match. We're getting someone from Stardom. Is this going to be someone she's wrestled before?
I think it's Azumi. That's who I think is going to come through Stardom.
You're talking B Priestley.
Oh,
I want to see B Priestley come in so bad. I've talked about her for a while because we've seen B before. She's been through the roster, much like Jamie Hayter. I want to see these Brits come through and really show us what they have. I think we missed the mark with NXT UK.
Yeah.
And I want to see them get what they should have had. Look at where Toni Storm is.
Yes. And a great.
The NXT UK roster was fire. And I am dying to see what these women are going to bring in. And women's wrestling right now, keep it coming. Give us the tag titles. Keep it coming. I cannot wait to see what the women do, especially if we get blood and guts.
Yeah, I think we will at a later date. If B Priestley is inserted into that match, that's going to be Brub's fiance and ex-partner.
But they get along.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they get along. Yeah, of course. But it's a nice little bit of, spice to throw in there. Because you know what it's like in wrestling. You get things like that. They'll bring it up and then it will, go into it, which is good. I want to throw one more women's thing at you, Mongo. Well, I got it. Continental Classic. We got to get it right.
Absolutely. I've been saying that since they first did the men's one. They got to do one. They do the men and women's Owens. Hangman calls his the men's world championship. They're not afraid of doing everything equal. So I agree. Do the Continental Classic. And you talked about the super juniors on the men. They could easily do, I don't know what you'd call a super junior for a women's division, but you could easily almost have a division that way too, and use the Continental Classic kind of, I don't want to say add the titles, but maybe do a Continental Classic for tag teams. I mean, that's the tournament. Yeah. Do Continental Classic style.
I had it so that the women's Continental Classic would be at the start of the year, and they do it around for about 3 months, didn't they? It takes or something along those lines. And you'd have a 3-month break, and then the men's one starts, which brings us to World End. That's how I envision. Oh. That's how I mean, it's not how I would do it. I don't run a wrestling company, but that's how I envisage seeing it could possibly be done. So it's not at the same time. So I think sometimes if it's at the same time, there's a bit of that samey feel to it. Whereas you put one at the start, you have World's End, and you do a fresh start in January, Women's Continental Classic, bang. That gives you a title shot, maybe, I don't know, All In, All Out or something like that. And then the men's one kicks off at the end of the year, which gives you that shot at World's End. That's how I would see it. I don't know. Would that be something that you'd be down for?
That sounds great, because then you have the Owen Hart tournament that heats up in between as well. Yeah, and we do need something to fill in. I think like back during COVID era, we had the tag tournaments for the women.
Yeah.
And I think that that really helped spice things up and showcased a lot more talent. So more tournaments, more talent. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I can't. I want it to happen. It needs to happen. I've said it to the NWA. They need to do a women's croquet cup as well. So that's the other
Yes.
thing.
That'd be
They need that.
fantastic.
They've got so much talent over there as well in the women. I mean, I think women's wrestling across the board is just ridiculous. The strength and depth they've got in every company's division. They've got so much in there at the minute, and long may that continue. But speaking of things that let's come back together, we have to talk Christian and Cope now. I'm obviously a big Edge head. I've got Edge tattoos everywhere. I've got the Rated R spinner signed by him and everything like that. So to have him back and to have Christian back, it was always on the cards. We knew it was going to happen, Mongo, but it has happened now. We're getting a match at Forbidden Door, which I'm guessing will be like just a kickstart to where they want to get to, which is ultimately going to be FTR against Christian and Cope. Maybe all out, or do you reckon that maybe a bit too soon? Will they bring it later on down the year, do you think?
I still think the Outrunners are involved in this story somehow
Oh, they have to be.
because they just showed that vignette on Saturday,
Yeah.
and they keep FDR keeps kind of diminishing them and also assaulting everyone. So they're kind of running ruckshot right now.
Mm.
I think it all kind of goes on how everything turns out with the tag titles. If FTR wins the titles, I think they're going to do tag title match at All Out to kind of give the Canadian crowd that little here you go. Here's basically Edge and Christian reunited in Canada for the gold.
Makes
But
sense.
they could stretch it out. All I gotta say is when they reunited, my first thought was we need more kazoos because like they're back. They're back, and it totally reeks of awesomeness. I marked out, I think, since the Royal Rumble 2020 hug, that was like the second most emotional time I've seen them hug. Like when they came back and
Mm.
Christian came out, no one knew he was coming out in the Rumble, and he hugged Edge, and you both had the goose pimples, and then you have them hugging again on Dynamite. It's like it's finally happening after the whole "go f yourself, go find yourself." And it is early, but it's like we don't know how much time Copeland really wants to stay, so it could be pivoting. But Nick Wayne's still in the rear view too.
Mm.
Even though they're gonna have this match, we could see how that shakes out. He could have someone else in his back pocket because I think Nick Wayne's got someone in his back pocket.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I think Killswitch still has some unfinished business with Christian Cage.
That
Yeah,
is not his name.
She doesn't like when I call him Killswitch.
Luchasaurus, right?
Yes.
It is Luchasaurus.
Emily, I just wanted to throw this one out there because I don't like to hit back people leaving AEW, but we're talking Edge and Christian. We don't know contractually where they stand with AEW. And one did wonder because in a few months' time, we're going to be having Bound for Glory. And there is a legendary tag match happening at Bound for Glory. And I would be reminisced if we couldn't add Cope and Christian into the Hardy Boys and the Team 3D that's happening at Bound for Glory. I know it means they would have to probably leave AEW, but as an old school wrestling fan like me, I would want it to happen. I don't know where you stand on that one.
There was a day where Kenny Omega left AEW and went to TNA in the same day.
Yeah.
I hate that wrestling can't be like that.
Yeah.
I want to say that it should be allowed and it probably would be on one side, but we know that TNA maybe has some people in their pockets that we can't do that with anymore. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't think talent is shared, but I mean, who's to say it's not something that they can't pull together?
It would be nice, especially since it's in our old. We used to be about 45 minutes from where it's going to be held
Oh,
in
really?
Lowell, Massachusetts. We grew up in New Hampshire, right over the border from where it was. So it kills me too, knowing we're 14 hours away, and I can't even go see the Dudleys and the Hardys one last time. Um, but yeah, if for some reason, in a perfect world, they left and went there, I think it would be great. Great with all, they went in the Hall of Fame together. If they retired together, I think it would be the perfect swan song. I think if it was going to happen, it was going to happen in AEW when the Hardys were in AEW. And I think, unfortunately, that's passed, and it kills me as a fan. I agree with you. I'm on the same as you, Adam. It's like, the moment was so close.
You know what? It kills me even more than that, and this is probably going to upset a few AEW fans, that Copeland's not available to be John Cena's last opponent. Because
That too.
when you look at the feuds that Cena has, and yes, controversially, there is the Brock one that's happening coming in a couple of weeks. We'll get into that in a minute, actually. So I've got my feelings on that. I'll talk about that in a sec. But for me, like, there is no one. that Cena. Randy Orton, I get. Yes, he had a great feud with him. Punk, yes, he had a great feud with him. Brock, he had an okay feud with Brock. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Edge for me was the one that once Cena was established, he was world champion. He was the one that just basically took him from here, although he was champ, but he was still here, up to where he was. The way I know they booked him right and everything like that, but without Copeland, I don't think Cena gets to that stage because there isn't no one that kind of makes feuds as personal. I don't know if you guys agree, as personal as what Copeland can make them.
No, absolutely. I was lucky enough to be at that SummerSlam in Boston, and I always remember just the lead up to it, how he slapped his dad and broke into his house,
Yeah.
and it really felt like Edge hated Cena and just wanted to ruin everything. And even going back further, when he came out with Vince and was one of the first people to cash in on champion after a match and stealing that and becoming that villainous, ultimate opportunist, rated R superstar. He's going to take down the big dog because he feels that's his spot. I agree. I think that would have been the perfect final opponent. I would have done that too in December in Boston. Edge Cena one more time. You would have had, people in the parking lot wanting to watch that match.
Yeah.
I think there's one other opponent that could come out of retirement and possibly throw a really big curveball at this, and they deserve a way better retirement. Kurt Angle.
He was talked about that, and he said that he just can't do it. But I threw out the pitch that he should be referee.
That would be fantastic.
Because surely he can do that, right? He doesn't have to take a
Yeah.
bump. He just counts, right? And who better? Because that's the person that Cena was the first time he come on to SmackDown was when he confronted Kurt Angle all those years ago. But we'll digress. That's WWE talk. We'll digress now. But before the last bit of WWE talk, I do want to get into because it's been doing the rounds. Look, WWE are now I don't care what Nick Khan or anyone says because he says, oh, they're not competition. You don't do what you do or do what you're doing if they're not competition, which is putting out shows on the same day as AEW shows. So what Nick Khan says is rubbish. I don't agree with that at all. They are definitely competition, and the WWE are treating it like it's competition by doing this. But as a fan, and this is more of like I'm not going to be I'm not got my WWE hat on, I've not got my AEW hat on, I've got a wrestling fans hat on. It affects us because fans like yourselves, fans like me, and there's thousands of other fans, and there is fans like us that watch everything. And yes, we may have a preference, but we'll watch everything and we'll enjoy it, right? But it affects people like us because we might want to go and see Brock Lesnar and John Cena, which is going to happen on the same day as All Out, on the same day as All Out. Is that what it is? But at the same time, we might want to go and see the FTR hurt. Well, no, that's going to happen at FTR Edge and Christian, which is probably going to happen at All Out. So as a fan, Mongo, this really affects us in a negative way because it's taking away something. Because we want to watch both shows potentially, but we can't. And I know we can stream and everything, but it's not as good live. Spoilers get out. You go on socials, you read all the stuff that's happening. So this really hurts the fans really more than it even is going to hurt AEW or WWE.
It does. And I think that's regardless of what you read online, people are like, well, it's business, it's competition. I'm a fan. I don't get money from them. I know they're trying to make money. I want the wrestlers to get paid what they're worth, 100%. Yeah. I want them to make money, but at the end of the day, that money they're making isn't being passed down in fair share of wrestling. I mean, that could be a whole topic in itself, so I won't go too deep. But you can't, do all these practices to your fans. Any company, it's not just one. You can't overcharge for tickets and then make people choose what to watch live because you're just going to alienate people, and then people will hyper focus on which one was booked better. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to backfire on WB because I think when they try to do these things, fans see through that. Like you said, I'm not trying to say one's better than the other or this and that, but as a fan, what do you kind of give up? I'm like, oh, I can watch the Cena Lesnar match after, or I can pause the pay-per-view and go watch that. It creates it's not like the Monday Night Wars, I guess, where that's what I was going to get to. It's not where it's, well, this one's taped, so I'll just try to, it's easy to avoid spoilers. Nowadays, we're guilty of it too. Within seconds, someone's posted an image of, Omos and Microman, and it's like, oh, I wanted to see that. I was waiting to watch it after Collision, but I saw that within seconds.
Yeah.
But like you said, so the moment was still fun. I still enjoyed it, but I'm like, I didn't get to see it live. I didn't get that pop with the crowd. Like you feel like you lose that connection with the crowd that way.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I saw Satnam singing Brad Williams and I was stoked.
I remember recently, I think it was All In. Yeah, I had literally had NXT on my phone and All In on my TV. But I was just
That's what
sitting
I
there
was
going,
gonna say.
yeah, and I was just like, but this takes like, and obviously, especially even us when we're going on there talking about shows and stuff like that, you're kind of like this, and then you don't get the. I mean, I've got copious notes when I take notes and I pinpoint specific things I want to say. I lose that when I have to do that, and it's kind. I'm not saying this isn't my job. I don't do this for a living, but as a podcaster streamer that does do it for a job, Emily, this would really could help them monetize from a monetizing basis as well.
Yeah, the people that do like their live reaction
Mm.
videos and all of that, what do they choose? We I will be open. We do put a chair in the middle of the living room in front of the TV, and we will put our iPad there, and we will watch WWE on our iPad, and we watch AEW on our big television.
Mm.
But that's only because we paid for that.
Yeah,
If we're going to pay for AEW, we're going to watch it on the big TV.
absolutely.
And it's harder to leave that and go into WWE than it is to just stay on AEW and have this other platform in front of us. We've done it with other things as well. If we know that we want to watch AEW, but an independent show is running, we will
Yeah,
put that on the iPad.
I had MLP in the background at one point because I was really curious to
like
see how Josh Alexander was going to do.
yeah. Oh, Josh is amazing. He's incredible talent. By the way, the Cena Brock match is looking like it's last man standing for anyone that.
Oh wow!
Apparently, it's just come out while
I
we.
mean,
I mean, I thought Brock was gone, so
no,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah,
yeah. Anyway,
As a female, I have
right.
my own thoughts. I will keep.
well, exactly that, and look, no, definitely. I was in one of
Sorry.
those when I spoke about this with David, and I was kind of in between on him coming back. I was like, great, the pop, and I was there when he come back in Miami, and I still have goosebumps to that day when he first come back, first time since UFC. But I said to Dave, like, and we both agreed that we were in two thingies about it because it was great from a wrestling fan standpoint, great. But when you unravel everything that's going on behind the scenes and there's still an active case going on and everything like that, he's still implicated in that case and the stuff that you read and everything like that, you sit there and go, fuck is he doing in a wrestling ring? If this, I can't imagine what goes on behind those curtains with him there. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. I was sort of in between on him coming back to wrestling, but it is what it is. I don't pay his money, and they don't. I don't. So there you go. I wanted to talk about the match that I'm really looking forward to. All in Forbidden Door. Uh, has to be and a lights out steel cage match. This is I was wondering how potentially they were going to do this and wondering how what if Osprey was going to be there? How is Darby Allin and John Moxley going to kill each other? Well, we found out this week that it's going to be lights out. Osprey come back. He's got herniated discs all over the place. So what does he do? Puts himself in a steel cage match, as you do.
Makes sense.
Of course it does. Perfect sense, right? With the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. Tanahashi's going to be in there for his last match in the UK. Osprey and Darby against Death Riders. Gabe Kidd, who's an absolute nutcase anyway. And then I love the bit with John Moxley pulling the Young Bucks in. And I've loved what AEW have done with the Young Bucks as well. It's been absolutely priceless. I think that's great what they've done with him. And obviously Claudio Castagnoli as well. But Mongo, coming to you on this one first. I mean, that match for me, I'm looking at all the matches, Okada, Swerve, and Tony Storm and Fina and everything else. I look at that and I'm just like, ticket money is paid and is bought and sold right there for that match.
No, I agree. I saw a crazy statistic, something like 2,800 tickets moved after that, and that match was announced. So I think that was smart to book it. I said the same exact thing you both said when he comes out. Like, wasn't this guy like 3 weeks ago saying, I'm going to try my best to make Forbidden Door? And it's like, we're going to go in a lights out cage match, which, all right, go big or go home, I guess. I'm jealous you guys get to see it live, but please be careful, Will. And then you got Gabe Kidd and Omega potentially running back Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
They lock back up for the first time. And Gabe just, having to sacrifice the G1, hopefully get healthy for this. So it's two banged up people. But then you have Tanahashi, his poor knees. Like, I hope he's okay. Like, so it's like the wrestling fans, like, let's go. But then I'm like, Oh, I'm still kind of a little worried for it, but the ace wants to go out the way he wants to go. I think it's going to be pure chaos. I think you have Darby in there, take the crazy bumps, keep his feud, because that's going to go to All Out. They're going to do something
Yeah.
crazy at All Out, I think. But it's Osprey that I'm careful. Like, who's Osprey is going to be a big target on that side? Because I don't think it's going to be Moxley. I don't know. Is it going to be Claudio? Because they have a lot of chemistry. So I'm
Mm.
him and Claudio are going to kind of book a program, but I'm
Maybe
excited.
Claudio will swing him and his discs will just set back. There's so
I,
much like velocity there.
I just can't imagine Will doing a cage and not jumping off of it. But then I can't say Darby Allin ain't going to do it either, right? So maybe
Right.
Double cage jump.
they're going to do it, aren't they? They're going to do something absolutely ludicrous in there.
I
Uh,
think a body bag's going to be involved. And I think there's some reason that Wheeler Yuta has been this poor pawn this entire
yeah,
Death Rider
Storyline.
storyline. He
yeah.
has just been tagged along and dragged through the mud with them. And when does he break? Does he turn? Does he get darker? When is this going to end for him? But do you remember the poster that got leaked, or it wasn't leaked, but it was like Sting, Chris Jericho. It had all these random people on it. And we were like, wait, is Sting going to be at the O2?
Maybe he could be.
Maybe something silly with Sting and Yuta or
Maybe because
Marina.
I've made it weird that Yuta isn't actually in the match, is he? It's Mox
No,
Claudio. So he got pushed aside for Gabe Kidd. So I know Gabe Kidd was technically Death Riders, but he's been he's obviously done away. And I just wonder if Yuta's going to be the one doing the turn in this one perhaps and cost him. But then you'd have to put him in somewhere all out then, wouldn't you? Where you're kind of thinking that Mox and Darby are going to have some kind of, I don't know, gunfight or something like that they'll probably do, knowing them two. And so it's interesting that, and this is what AEW have done so well. I talked to it about Gary Joe about it, how the storylines are now in place and they're intriguing as well because you're now trying to plot, you're trying to put your head on it and go, right, this is doing it, this one, but where does this one fit in? Why is he here? What is he doing over there? When the same thing with Utah, which is really, really good, and Statlander as well, right? They had that little thing going on as well, which I'm really, again, intrigued by what's going on with these. And this is why AEW at the moment for me is my promotion. It's the promotion that I watch. Well, I watch them all, but it's my favorite one currently with everything that's going on, which is great. And
That
on
was
top of that, you get Tony Storm with her promos. I mean, this week, Collision, Milk, Lemonade, and Fudge, or whatever it was.
I thought that Mongo was joking. I had just come back from the store because I had to run out and grab some dog food. Poor pup. I was like, all right, I'll be really quick. And I come back and I'm like, wait, she really said that? Like, that happened?
I was like, oh, I went right back to the playground there. I'm like, I remember that old saying.
That is just, it was absolutely crazy. I was I was laughing my head. I always laugh. Her and Alex Windsor as well. Just,
The dancing.
oh, the dance in the week this week because they're in tag team action in Glasgow this week on Dynamite. And they done a little promo about their match, and Alex was like, "Right, no sexual stuff." And then of course, Tony Storm said something, and Alex Winter was like, "Jesus," and just walked away, which was great. But AEWS is indeed in Glasgow this week to kick off Forbidden Door with Dynamite, which should be fun and games before Forbidden Door. I'll be attending Forbidden Door with David. We're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a crazy, crazy week. Guys, before I start rolling off what I've got going on, where can people find you? What have you got going on? Because you do some great stuff on YouTube. Like I say, you do those in-depth stuff. They're really, really good. Tell people where they can find you on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can check us out at YouTube, at Cruising with Kayfabe, CWK Podcast on Twitter, and at Cruising with Kayfabe on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere else as well. A couple things we have coming up. We have a really special live coming up this week, TBD, but it's going to be involving a life-size Plinko board that we have. So it'll be kind of a little fun event. We have an Okada deep dive episode that we're working on right now, too, kind of going over his career. And then our Forbidden Door prediction show will be either Thursday or Friday, depending on when our co-hosts are available. So those are kind of like what we have coming up. But yeah, definitely stay tuned to our YouTube channel because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up on there as well.
Well, you forgot about our latest episode that we recorded.
Oh yeah, I did. How did I forget about that? Wow.
Whatever.
That's right. We dropped an Orange Cassidy episode from Chill to Champion, kind of chronicling his rise and how if people want to call him pockets or lazy, I think take a listen to that episode because it really shows how he took that gimmick and involved his whole run. And I really appreciate that comedy wrestling is finally getting its place in wrestling. People realize it can be fun and serious.
It can be, but make sure you check those guys. They do a great job on YouTube, and everything you do is amazing. Now, I'm going to bore you, so apologies
No
in
worries.
advance. First things first, I need to thank Exodus Pro Wrestling. We covered their event of the weekend. Watch the Throne. The feedback from EC3 and everybody involved, the wrestlers involved. We had a little Exodus takeover last week on the channel. That continues. That's continuing in the next few weeks as well. But just a really big thank you to all of those guys. Last week we had, I said, the Brian Cage interview, so that will be going out tomorrow for you all. I'm just really apologetic about the fact that, look, it didn't go as well as what we wanted it to. There was lots of audio distortion and video distortion in there, so we do apologize. It isn't going to be as great as we'd like it to be, like we normally do, like this interview and other interviews have gone on. So apologies for that, but it is going to drop. I'm decided to drop it tomorrow for the Head of Forbidden Door. And the Head of Forbidden Door, I've also dropped another Chat GPT special coming in next week. That will be if Chat GPT done their own Forbidden Door, including WWE stars in that one. So there's some interested matchups in there. Coming up on the channel this week, we are recording tomorrow. You guys are sensations online. I've got another sensation tomorrow with over 4 million likes on TikTok. She plays games on TikTok, so I thought, why not bring back our top 10 game and do wrestling's top 10 oh my god moments, and that will be with a girl called, I'll do a handle, it's Hey It's Renee. She'll be joining me tomorrow in recording that episode. It will be out in a few weeks. NWA Spotlight as well this week with the 7-foot Jack Talos. I hope he's got a screen that can camera that can find him, but he's going to be on fresh from Japan. He's just come back from Japan last week, so he'll be coming to us. And then if you're into your UK independent wrestling, a star that will be on everybody's lips in the next 12 to 18 months, guys, you might want to write this down for yourselves. Tommy Tanner, he's called the Absolute Geezer. He's going to be on the show this week as well. Incredible talent. We had him at Ignite. We've booked him straight back for our show in a couple of weeks, which I'll get to in a minute. We come back to Exodus Pro as well. Merciless Lord Crew will be on, as will La Princesa Tiffany and Nieves at the end of August. And then we start September with Gannon Jones Jr. from Exodus Pro and mine and Fiona's favorite wrestler, Love Doug from Straight Through the Heart, it's the tag team Straight Through the Heart, will be joining us. That's the next few weeks. And then, of course, September the 21st is our third joint production show with Ignite Wrestling over here. Buckle Up Free. We've done it twice. Third and final time this time. We've already mentioned the likes of Charles Crowley, Will Cruz, and Spike Trevay join us, and Tommy Tanner will be on that show. I don't think he's announced yet, so I may have just dropped that one to everybody on there. Also, big thanks to Luke Gallows, who I interviewed last week as well. He will be dropping in a few weeks, and me and him share the same bugbear about independent wrestlers, and won't say it on here. I'll let Luke say it himself, because we talk about his reality show with Carl Anderson that you can see on Roku on SGTV. They take you behind the scenes booking an independent show, so I can relate to all of the trials and tribulations he has had with that. Emily, Mongo, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much. Last minute, everyone, full disclosure, this was a last minute thing I put together tonight. So thank you for jumping on so within an hour of this. It really appreciate your time. I hope you guys enjoy Forbidden Door. I will do a couple of lives while we're there from our seats. So if you want to jump and see us on socials, you can do that. So it'd be great. But big thank you for joining me at such a last short notice this evening, guys and girls. Follow them. Follow us on YouTube at HTT Buckle and on X, on Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, on all other social media outlets. But until tomorrow, the next video drops. Everybody, buckle down, stay elite, and stay safe, everybody.